Hi, Karen Curry Parker here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. We're going to talk about something that can sometimes be a really triggering topic, and that topic is joy. The sun this week transits in the gate 58. The gate 58 is called the joy of mastery. Now, we have a lot of misconceptions about joy, and we certainly have a lot of interesting adventures, if you will, with the energy of joy. So let's unpack that for a little bit. The first thing we have to talk about is that joy is not an emotion. We think it is. We think the end result of everything we create is going to be joy. We're going to do this and we're going to feel joyful. And joy becomes this sort of external marker that determines whether we're aligned or not. Not true. When we look at joy and where it lives on the human design chart, which is a blueprint for the human story, we see that joy is actually not located on the emotional center, but rather on the center for divine timing, the root center, the center that points on the left-hand side of the chart towards the energy for mastery in the spleen center. So joy is what I like to call in human design a driver energy. All of the channels that connect the divine timing center, the root center, to either the spleen, the sacral, or the emotional solar plexus are drives. And these are energies that give us the drive ultimately to do, to be motivated, to endure, and to sustain actions necessary to create in the world. When we lose connection with our joy and the things that bring us the greatest amount of joy, we actually lose our connection to our motivation and our drive. We, somewhere along the way, bought into the idea that to create success, to do work in the world, good work in the world, we have to work hard. And that oftentimes that means we have to forego the things that bring us joy. And we can do those things later after we've completed our markers for success in the world. I find it really ironic that in the past 30 years where I've worked as a life coach, that probably the single most limiting thing that I work with people to help them overcome is their resistance to joy. They feel guilty. How could I go out in the world and do something that brings me joy? That must be bad, right? Because work and success is hard and you have to have sweat equity. It can't be joyful. If it's joyful, it's bad, right? We have this idea that if we're doing it and it's fun, then it's not work. Well, yeah, that's kind of true, but success doesn't necessarily have to be hard work all the time. Now, I'm going to put a little disclaimer here. As somebody who's been an entrepreneur for my entire adult life since the time when I was 19, I will tell you that to create success in the world, especially in business, you are going to have to do some things that don't always bring you joy, like accounting, okay? But the root of what you do, the driver of what gives you the spark and the essence to put your head down and do the practice and the repetition and the correction and the alignment and the practice and the repetition and the correction and the alignment and the practice and the repetition and the correction and the alignment necessary to become masterful at something requires that you have a certain amount of joy around it. Otherwise, you're not going to be putting your whole heart into it. It's going to feel thick and gooey and not fun. And the truth is, if it's not joyful, you run the risk of procrastinating, putting it off, or not doing the things you know you should be doing to create whatever it is you want to be creating in your life. So joy is a vital essence to tapping into our natural motivation and our drive. And it's essential for us to become masterful. Itzhak Perlman, the 16-time Grammy Award-winning violinist, has, I can't remember the exact quotation, but I read this somewhere and it's so beautiful. He said something about, I still take violin lessons every week. He still takes violin lessons every week. 75 years old. He's been playing violin almost all of his life. He's got major, musical awards and accolades. And he still takes violin lessons every week because his joy in seeking higher states of mastery is so profound that he wants to keep doing what he has to do to become more and more masterful. This isn't about creating the success. This isn't even necessarily about going for the next Grammy Award. This is about his joy of being in the flow of the mastery of his violin playing drives him to such a degree that he is still, even at 75 years of age, still plugging away at it every week, still learning, practicing, growing, aligning, correcting, repeating over and over again, because that joy, that driver, brings him to higher states of mastery. We're in the week where we're exploring what are we going to do next year. We're about to set our New Year's resolutions to contemplate 2021, which is a year that, I'm not going to lie, you guys, 2020 was hard. 2021 probably won't be as hard, but it's going to have its own challenges. We are in a massive cycle of restructuring and rebuilding and looking at our outer reality and assessing whether that outer reality is an accurate reflection of our value and what we value. And we are going to be tasked next year with laying the foundation for continuing to build something different, something better, something new. And if we lose our motivation along the way, if we get disconnected from joy, if we can't find in that creative process that spark that sparks us enough, that brings us enough joy to get us up and get us going, to call us forward even when the going gets rough, and it might, then we can't move towards higher states of mastery. The only way to get to the higher states of mastery is, obviously, you got to have a little bit of endurance. Obviously, you got to be able to have a thick enough skin to be willing to correct mistakes, to make things better. But at the heart of it, we also have to have a joy that moves us forward towards a vision of something bigger and better than what we have right now, and a joy that is rooted in a desire to make what we have better and better and better. So this week, I really want to invite you to explore for yourself, where did you maybe let go of your joy? What beliefs do you have about your life being joyful? How much joy are you willing to allow yourself to receive and create with in your life next year? And are your intentions, is your focus being pointed towards those things that actually cultivate and deepen your experience and your expression of joy in your life? The Earth transits in the gate 52. This is an energy that gives us perspective, an energy that invites us to take a big picture view, overview of what is our life about and where are we putting our energy, and sets us up to, from that big bird's eye perspective, to look down and see where do we need to place our focus so that we can create from a place of deeper joy, of greater alignment with our mastery and the fulfillment of that unique, right place, cosmic, once-in-a-lifetime event, perspective, life story that is your life story. You are a cosmic once-in-a-lifetime event, and you have a unique and vital and irreplaceable role in this cosmic plan. When you take that big picture view this week before you set those New Year's intentions, really ask yourself, is your life reflecting the true story of who you are? And is what you're doing bringing you joy? Joy is not a light and fluffy byproduct of success. Joy is what creates success. Later this week, we're going to talk about 2021 and start looking at what can you expect in this next year. I want to lovingly and gently say, in human design, the new year doesn't actually start until January 21st. I think this year especially, that's an important date to look at. That's the day that we get out of the shadow of Mars. And a lot of this tension that we've been working with all year hopefully has an opportunity to be released and dissipated as we move into more expansive, more compassionate, more momentum-filled energies in 2021. That's it. That's your focus this week. Think about your joy, focus on your joy, embrace your joy, allow your joy, assess your joy, measure your joy, do your joy, and have a really, really great week and a great scoot, if you will, into the new calendar year.